Sirius XM. It's the Opie and Anthony Show.
Let's get Guillermo del Toro in studio.
Del Toro. Promoting a book. It's a giant book that smells really good.
Oh, yeah. Here he comes.
Yes.
Guillermo.
Cabinet of my
Cabinet of Curiosities.
Cabinet of Curiosities, my notebooks, collections, and other obsessions. Mm-hmm. Nice to meet you, sir.
Hey, hi.
Welcome to the Opie and Anthony Show.
Same here.
Big fan of the of your movies, sir. I enjoyed Pacific Rim very much.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, and I go into these movies sometimes, and I'm like, all right, I don't know what this is going to be about, but I hope for the best. That was awesome. It was like old school kind of Godzilla-ish vibe to it, but with amazing visuals. And the size that you portray with these robots were great. I thought it was a fun movie to watch.
We spent 3 years on it, and
Wow.
It was really. If you ask me, I spent 38 years wanting to make it.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's a movie that is so attuned with my 10-year-old, self.
Yeah.
It was, and inside every guy there is a 10-year-old constantly. You remain that kid, and hopefully the movie reminds you of what it is to be that.
What were you watching back then? Sci-fi movies and things like that?
I was a completely freaky kid.
Yeah. So was there a lot of Godzilla movies?
Everything. In Mexico, I was born in '64. Mm-hmm. So I came in right at the height of the giant monster movie.
Yeah.
It was when Godzilla was king. I went to opening day of many Godzilla films.
Oh, yeah. What was it? I remember Destroy All Monsters came out.
One
with,
of the best.
Ghidra and Rodan and Gamera.
Those were the ones I liked. The more monsters.
Yeah, the better, right?
The better. It's like wrestling.
Yeah.
You have the good wrestlers and the bad wrestlers, except they are throwing tanks at each other, buildings at each other.
Yeah.
I thought the Gargantuans didn't get enough credit.
That is perhaps one of my two favorites. Yeah.
War of the Gargantuans was a really good movie, too. Yeah.
The way they moved the hair on their bodies and made it look like real people. It was just...
That was a good one.
And what a lot of people don't know is that it's a sequel to another movie that is lesser known called Frankenstein Conquers the World.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And when I was a kid... That movie opened in a tiny cinema in my hometown. I took the bus, took me an hour to get to the cinema, sat down to see War of the Gargantuans. In the middle of the movie, somebody throws a big glass of pee from the balcony. It lands on my head.
Come on.
Here's how much
That made you love the movie, I hope.
No. Here's how much I loved it. I stayed.
You stayed with pee on your head.
I came out with a sort of something about Mary hairdo.
Why did they throw pee? It was never established?
Well, it's established as it was back then a very favored prank in the movie.
Yeah. Oh, man.
We used to just do soda. We weren't brave enough to do pee. Well, Northport. Remember the Northport
throwing soda.
The balconies. Yeah,
but that theater I went to is what they used to call in Mexico. They used to call it a one-brick theater because they gave you one brick for the rats. So it was not a reputable.
Right. So you're helping out as an exterminator while you're watching
you're doing
the movie.
Your duty, yeah.
That was like the golden age of those movies.
Of all horror and fantasy.
Yeah, and they were all they all seemed to be like 90 minutes long. Like it was an hour and a half. That's all you needed.
As frankly, every movie should be.
Yeah.
Except, but we seem to have a hard time controlling past 2 hours. Pacific Rim was dead on 2 hours and 30-something seconds.
Yeah.
But back then you had. In TV, you were watching all the Universal monster movies.
Yeah.
In theaters, you had kaijus and Hammer movies. Christopher Lee as Dracula.
The best.
Yeah.
I thought they had a horrifying element to them. The Hammer film. I thought he was the best Dracula, Christopher Lee.
With the bleeding eyes. Yeah, his eyes would bleed. Oh, it was so creepy. As a kid, you would really get scared.
And he had a power that was not creaky. It was like this guy could not only absolutely suck the damsels, but he would kick your ass.
Yeah.
He looked he would. I was a great fighter.
There was something about going to the movies back then that was such a. Now you just kind of it's an aside. That you could have a movie you really want to go see, but it was like as a kid when you went to the movies the theater to go see it because it was something. First of all, you knew you were not going to see this movie
again.
Yeah. If not ever, it was going to be years if you ever saw it again.
Yeah.
So you had to pay attention and soak it all in and enjoy it.
Back then, I remember one of the big things was if you were able to steal a movie poster.
Oh,
If
yeah,
you liked the movie a lot,
poster,
you
right,
would
yeah.
steal a movie poster. But and the only way you could memorialize the movie was by buying the soundtrack on an LP.
Yeah, yeah.
So they were special moments, you know.
Yeah, and now it's easy to just, you get it
As they say,
on
it's
demand.
it's one of your entertainment options.
Right, one of the many, yeah.
Do you like the remakes and stuff of Godzilla?
Well, I really don't mind remakes if they're good. Every remakes or original movies, if they're crappy, it doesn't make a difference.
Right.
No, they kind of go away.
The great remakes are great.
What do you think that they miss? Sometimes it feels like there's something that they don't quite capture, and I don't know exactly what it is. Sometimes the remake
Nostalgia.
Man, I don't know, man. I can't even put my finger on what it
Because
is.
I think it's nostalgia, really.
I think
Some of
it's-
these movies don't look as impressive as what obviously you're doing nowadays.
If you rewatch them, that was the thing with Pacific Rim. I wanted to make the movie for a new generation of kids. I wanted the 10-year-olds now to see Pacific Rim and feel what I felt back then.
Right.
It was not an exercise in nostalgia. It was, I would say, reinterpretation, if you want, or passing the torch to a new generation.
Sure.
You could definitely see the monsters, they were influenced by
Of course.
the monsters of the 60s. Of watching them. They were very strange looking.
Yeah.
Sometimes you couldn't really get a grasp on what they even were. This one's half lobster.
Yes.
It was, it really did. And it conjured up those memories of watching old monster movies like that.
There's a great anecdote about the first Godzilla, which is 1954.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. The
With
director
Raymond
is
Burr,
Shiro-
where they threw him in.
the American version.
Yeah.
But the director, Ishiro Honda, called everybody into his kitchen before starting the movie, and he said, "I'm making a movie. We're making this movie for real. We're not being funny about it. We're not. Everybody take it seriously." And that's the way we went on Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
There was no postmodern wink. All these things are funny. We were doing it for real. We were doing it to be an exciting, seriously entertaining.
It was good.
show.
You felt like there was that element of impending danger and doom was there, and
But
the
fun, hopefully.
heroics and stuff.
Yeah,
It was I watched that and went like, wow, that was really fun to watch.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
man.
What's your least favorite? Did you have a least favorite horror or creature that you just like, you just couldn't quite get into?
You mean
when you were a kid? Yeah.
You know, I have the most brotherly love for monsters. I love crappy monsters. I love great monsters.
Even the crappy ones.
And sometimes the most charming ones are the crappy ones. The ones that they look like they need your help. They're so crappy.
Poor thing. You kind of feel bad for him.
That poor giant clawed alien needs my help. You know? So you do feel like that.
That's funny.
And your book is a really interesting, giant, beautiful book, and it's called it's called Cabinet of Curiosities: My Notebooks, Collections, and Other Obsessions. What exactly is it? These are all just notes you've made.
These have all my notebooks from all my movies. These are my notebooks. You know, I draw in them. This is for Pacific Rim. These are
Those are your actual drawings?
Yeah,
Oh,
these
That
are
is
my-
amazing
You know how to
right
draw.
there.
So that's my handwriting, my drawings, and it it also includes my collection, which is in 2005. I was hanging a picture of one. I collect original art and artifacts and props and books and all that. And my wife said, "You can hang that in there in the kitchen." And I thought, well, I spent my entire life as a kid under my mother. And now my wife is telling me what I can and cannot do.
Yep.
So I said, "Look, you know what? I'm going to buy my own house." So I went and bought my own house. And
That's what Jimmy's going to have to do.
It's 10,000 square feet of collection, some of it which is in the book.
Wow.
But, basically, what I do is I live with my wife and my daughters. Every day in the morning, I go to my own house. And
That's awesome.
I spend the day in my house.
Right.
And I can do whatever I want in my
Right,
house.
right.
Hang whatever monster picture, whatever. And the funny thing is, it took me 40-something years to live the way I thought I should live at age 10.
Now, that's an amazing. What is something you've collected that you
great.
absolutely love? A piece of movie memorabilia.
I have truly. It's a museum, and if you browse through the book, you'll see it. I mean, it's really quite an amazing collection. And I have basically what I do with every check when I make any money. I immediately give my wife half, And I said, we'll share the expenses on the house, and the other half don't ask me anything. I'm gonna do whatever, and you cannot tell me how much did that monster cost, how much did this. The house has secret passages.
Wow, really?
2 secret passages. Has one room that is called the rain room, which is a room that is rigged to have a fake outside where there's a thunderstorm 24 hours a day.
This is great.
We're looking at right now. There's
I
a
love
room,
this.
a beautiful wood room with you can see the upstairs balcony with a giant Frankenstein head on it, and there's I don't recognize the
Hellboy monster.
The Hellboy monster. Sorry, underneath on the ground, and there's a regular nice rug that every house should have, and there's just creatures all over. And
there's 560 pieces of original art, all fantastic art.
Just up on this one landing, I'm seeing you got Geiger over here, and then Hellboy.
Those are originals.
And then what's the Pinhead girl here?
From Freaks.
From Freaks, yeah.
I live. What I wanted to do as a kid is live with my heroes of horror. And if you turn the page, that's H.P. Lovecraft. A horror writer that I admired as a kid. I had him made life size. So he lives in the house with
me. A wax museum type of.
But they're all around. There's a dwarf with a razor blade at the end of a corridor. I call him my alarm system.
Wow. I got to ask you about your other house, though. How boring is the other house?
Entirely vanilla.
Really?
There's nothing that indicates I'm there.
Do you have people come here?
I give tours once a week.
He doesn't like people in his house. This is your space. People would try touching shit and wrecking it.
No. I'm very careful.
I bet.
I was fortunate. I was blessed with 2 daughters, which means they're very careful. If I had a boy, half of my
run around trying to play with everything. Yeah.
What is this crack?
Yep.
Does your wife go to the other house?
She comes now and then. And
I love this.
I get the occasional conjugal visit. But in reality, is they're separate. And
So you guys have an understanding, obviously. It's your thing, and you really are into it, and
100%.
She'll lets you do it.
Normal people go to work at 9 a.m., come back at 5. I do the same. I mean, I live with my wife and my daughters, but
that's kind of going to the office. Instead of the office, you go to your house.
Do you work in this place?
I work there.
That's your work.
Yeah, it's a great atmosphere, I'm sure.
That's where I write. That's where I design the movies.
Do you ever get creeped out? Not creeped out, but turn around and go, huh, something's there?
There was. I've had a few ghost experiences.
Really?
In my life, for real. I'm a skeptic. People think I believe all this crap.
Right.
I don't. I'm normally a skeptic. That's me at age 10.
Well, give us so.
I bought 2 cabinets from the 15th century, and they arrived to the house, and they came with a ghost. And
really?
The house was sort of haunted for about a year and a half until I had a cleansing done.
But you had a cleansing done?
I had
was it too much? What were they doing?
The lights would be turned on and off, footsteps. I just did, and now I stay there. I mean, I stay there sometimes until 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and I didn't like being creeped out.
Yeah, of course.
And the cleansing worked?
Yes.
It did.
Wow.
My mother did it. My mother is sort of a white witch.
You're a fascinating man.
Yeah, what an interesting life.
Oh my God, I love it.
How far is your house from your other house?
About 5 minutes. A 5-minute ride.
A 5-minute drive?
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't be like, I'm in L.A. and my house is in New York.
No.
Do you sleep in this house once in a while?
Now, when I come back, right now we're shooting in Toronto. I'm shooting the pilot for a horror series for FX based on my books, The Strain. And when I go back to L.A., I don't go back to the family house. I go back to my monsters.
Right.
My wife and daughter stay in Toronto. I go back, and
Does your wife check up on you? Going, sure, he likes monsters.
I'm too freaky to do anything.
This is your internet porn.
Great.
This is your internet.
This is it, man. This is it.
This is your obsession.
I want to go to this house and look around.
Great,
this is fantastic.
man.
Yeah, what's the address of the house? So love to stop by and
coordinates. No, what is great about the house is, honestly, I walk in and I have a smile instantly.
Yeah.
Because you are when you're a kid, you're very particular about your room. Every kid has the sign on the door, keep out. Right outside the room. It's basically that. It's a space where no one can tell you what to do.
Well, let me tell you a little personal story, Guillermo. Not to the extent that you have done.
Yeah.
But I was laughed at relentlessly at the beginning of the summer because I decided I wanted to buy a life-size Velociraptor to put out by my jacuzzi.
Why not?
I did it, and people laughing. Oh, what the hell you doing? It looks great. It looks cool. The steam comes up from the jacuzzi. You put on a red light, and you're having a little jacuzzi in Jurassic Park. And everyone laughs. But then when they come over, they're snapping pictures with it like crazy. They want a picture with it.
100%. In the book, there is, my car. When I was a kid, I saw this movie called The Car with James Brolin, a horror movie where the car was the devil. A great design by Chuck Barris, who designed the Batmobile. Fell in love with it. I said, I'm going to own that car. I own that car.
You own the car from the car.
I had it made. Handmade in Mexico in steel. It's like a tank. It's in the book.
No doubt.
But I think that all you can do is live the way you want to live.
Right, yeah.
Otherwise, you have nothing.
I remember that movie, but
Yeah.
I was getting it confused with Duel for a minute. Duel with the truck.
They are the two scariest cars in the history of film.
Yeah.
But this
Dennis
is a car
Weaver.
Dennis
He was
Weaver.
good in that.
But that car goes like, had like a very scary horn.
Yeah.
And what you were saying about your Velociraptor, I take the car only on Sundays because it's too expensive. If I go Burbank and back, is one tank.
Oh,
each way
because
it's so
weighs
heavy.
a ton. Yeah, a ton
So
more. Than
I
a ton.
take it around the block, go buy ice cream, like an old man,
This guy's great.
And people are snapping pictures. Can I take a picture of your car? And I'm so
See,
happy.
this is the life you're supposed to lead when you're a successful guy.
And
I love it.
That notebook, he opened it up briefly. It's really cool.
It's beautiful.
Dude, you know what it reminded me of when you
Beautiful
open
artwork.
it?
It really is.
It looks like Indiana Jones' father's notebook for the
It
Holy
is.
Grail.
It is. Well, it started like very much like a field notebook. And then I have 3 of them right now, and they turned into this.
That it's got a kind of a Lord of the
colors.
Rings look to it there.
They are all the notebooks that I bought in Venice in 1997, and they were handmade. And
That's
fell in
great.
love
Yeah,
with
leather and stuff.
Yeah.
Are those notebooks, is it one per movie, or do you just keep going until it's
No,
done?
they are mixed. Like, for example, the section that I seal off is sealed off because I have designs from The Hobbit. When I
Right.
was in charge of directing that movie, and I can't allow them to be seen or this and that.
Yeah.
So I seal them with my little band.
It's one rubber band. It's
I don't
keeping the
accidental-
secrets from the Hobbit.
It is low key, low tech.
Yeah. No,
It works.
you can't lose a thumb drive or anything. It's your notebook, and
There's no
grab
way
that
they
notebook.
can hack into
can
the rubber
hack
band.
the notebook. Hack into a rubber
Let's
band.
grab it. Let's grab it. Look over there for a second.
It'll be,
I got to ask you about your father. He was
Yeah.
kidnapped.
Oh yeah, 98.
wow.
Wow.
It was in Mexico?
Yeah, he was in Mexico. He was 72 days. They kept him. And,
72 days.
Was it a cartel?
No, it was the kidnapping. The way the kidnappings are run is they're basically run like franchises. So one person can run 2-3 kidnappings and run them like convenience stores. They call. They have a guy that picks up the victim, a guy that negotiates. It was back then in '98. It was just a business. Now it's rampant. Now it's all sort of melded into one single crime. The guys that do the kidnapping, do the organ traffic, do the drug peddling, everything.
So they kidnapped you. You got a phone call and said,
Oh, we got many phone calls, yeah.
and you knew it was true immediately.
Oh, yeah. No, the first phone call I got was my older brother called and said, better come home. He said they took him. He didn't say anything else. And I knew what it was instantly. I didn't need an explanation.
Where did they get him?
They got him outside his business, yeah. Oh. Yeah, it was...
And was it random?
No, they planned it for... Those things are planned carefully, and a lot of the time, they need to know where they're picking him up, what time he arrives.
I'm sure they want to know if you have money, too, at that point.
They do the background,
Yeah.
and they do the check with finances. It's a business.
Wow.
They don't want to invest. Foolishly,
So they got him, and then you get the call, and what's the process then? You have to get the money together, or do you try to negotiate? Or
I tell you this: there's only one time where 3/4 of the way Hollywood got it right. There's a movie called Proof of Life with Meg Ryan and Russell Crowe. 3/4 of the way, if you can imagine, instead of Meg Ryan, a fat Mexican, and instead of Russell Crowe, an old English guy, that's the way it is. You have to bring a negotiator. The negotiator has to guide you through it because there's a whole protocol. If you do it on your own, you're going to screw it up.
What's something that somebody would do on their own that the negotiator would protect you from?
Look at Jerry Lundegaard.
Everything you do instinctively is wrong.
Really, like what?
There's a whole protocol. For example, if you know your limit and you immediately declare it and you say that's what I can get, you're telling them how much you can get now. So they're gonna run the negotiation for longer. To give you an example, we said we can only get X, which was a fraction of what they were asking for. But that told them if they can get X the second day we called, that means if we wait for 72 days.
Oh, man, they're going to be able to scrape up
10
more.
10 times that. Yeah. Wow. But instinctively, you give it your all because you want him back.
Yeah,
so It's a really... I don't recommend it.
Man, right?
So was he taken care of for 72 days, more or less?
Well, you know, my dad is, I'm sure, like your dad, it's a generation that doesn't talk.
Oh,
doesn't
Jesus,
talk
Opie.
It's a generation that doesn't like to chat about life.
Yeah.
He's a self-made man.
Right, so he doesn't talk about it really, what happened.
Like my dad and I, we can go, yep, for 2 hours. But basically that's, and I don't see him for 3 years, and then we go, yep.
Yeah.
How are you? Good.
Did he get security after that?
You know, he did for a while, but now he jokes about it, but it's true. He says, I'm too old for that. I mean, like they won't kidnap him because he could croak.
Yeah, there's a problem.
There's a problem. I mean, they only kidnap people that they can keep.
Do you worry when you go to Mexico about?
I take precautions.
Yeah, okay.
You have to, right? Nowadays.
I have to, especially because in my line of business, people assume. Let's say that a movie, Pacific Rim, made $400 million.
That you have $400 million.
People think he must have at least 50. Not true. Not true. You have to move the decimal points a few.
Yeah. That's fascinating, man. Wow.
That is really scary.
What a monkey wrench to throw into someone's life.
So you don't like going down to Mexico, I would assume.
Do I like? I love going.
But you wish you would.
I have to go with precaution.
Sure.
Yeah. I cannot go casually.
And you're not going to film there anymore. I
can't. That's the biggest loss for me is family life. And the fact that I would love to continue filming Mexican film.
All the rabble in Toronto, let me tell you, that's dangerous living right there. You might sleep yourself to death.
No, it's such a great life right now. I mean, I enjoy it.
I actually like Canada.
I adore Toronto.
It's a lot of fun up there. We were in Montreal.
It is.
Had a blast.
We have to plug a book signing.
Yes, please. It's great.
Book signing is tonight, November the 4th, obviously, 7 o'clock. It's a big one in Union Square. There's a big Barnes & Noble.
One of the last.
One of the last ones. Yeah, the bookstores are going away.
It's a
big
good
one.
Huge.
It's where all the major book signings are done here in New York. And this is a beautiful book. It's got notes in it. It's
we spent 3.5 years making the book.
So
Yeah, it
many
looks like it.
great pictures, photographs, and artwork in
stories behind everything about all the movies.
That's my car.
Oh,
That's it. That's it.
oh, wow.
Yeah, I just saw that too.
That's
the one.
great. Looks
Now
almost
you
like a
remember.
Rolls Royce.
It is like the evil twin of a phantom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous. And you're directing The Hobbit.
Wow.
I was prepping The Hobbit for 2 years as director, and we had so much delays that I left, and obviously Peter and Felipe and Fran saw the movie to completion, and Peter directed it beautifully. But I was so happy being part of it. I'm part of the screenplay.
Oh, you're not. Oh, you're not preparing for the next.
No.
Oh, I thought you were preparing.
Peter
for the next one.
directed
Okay.
them. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the next installment.
Coming up.
Yeah.
Great
Is that directed
anticipation. The second one?
Yeah. The Solution of Smog.
I didn't realize that. I thought they were working on it.
Yeah, Dragon opens his eyes and we all get
know,
shut out.
what the heck?
Go,
Credit
now,
time.
Now sit and wait, you
Right.
bastards.
Yeah, for a year.
Yeah.
That's just mean.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
just me.
It goes back, though, to something we were talking about earlier with the movies, and you knew you
special.
weren't going to see them again on television and stuff. When a movie came out and then you heard there was going to be a sequel, that was amazingly exciting. I remember Planet of the Apes, and then Beneath the Planet of the Apes was coming out, and I was like, oh my God.
Those were my Star Wars.
Oh, yeah, yes. Amazing, right?
We were there opening day.
Yep.
And I was of the right age where Beneath the Planet of the Apes struck me even harder than Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, I wonder what that was all about.
Those bald, creepy bastards worshiping the bomb.
Yeah.
It was so fucking edgy for them.
That was kind of creepy, and then Charlton Heston buying it at the end was kind of weird,
very weird.
Kill him off like that.
Spoiler.
But, spoiler alert! 1968 or whatever the hell.
For those that they would have trouble catching up. There you are.
But that was a movie that had one of those amazing reveals at the end, Planet of the Apes, with of course the Statue of Liberty and stuff.
Yeah.
That was because if you just walked into that movie and didn't know, you didn't know
at all
until the end. You were fooled.
No, and that was what was great, and I'm not nostalgic about it, but what was great about media being so subdued back then is that you didn't know.
You didn't know.
You didn't know
right.
this thing. It's like me when I go to a sports movies. I don't know because I'm a fat slob. I have no idea. I went to see Ron Howard's Rush.
Right. Yeah.
And my wife knew more about car racing than me. She was like, wait until this happens. I go, is it gonna happen? I said, I hope he does all right. He said, you don't know? What kind of man are you?
I don't know. Yeah, what kind of man are you? It's like, shut up! I'm going back to my monster house.
I have no. My only sport is cappuccino lifting. I do nothing else. I can press 500.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, you're brilliant.
I got to tell you,
Absolutely.
what
The
a
book
pleasure
looks
having
great.
you.
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
love that you have a monster house.
Yeah.
Big fan.
It's two of them now.
Oh, now you got a second
I
one.
bought the second house next door, and the neighbors think I do porn because all the windows are blacked.
Yeah.
So they think they say, is it true that I was taking the trash out, and they said, is it true that you're a porn producer? I said, no.
No, I'm a director.
Only of monsters.
Yeah.
Monster porn.
You had to get a second house for your collection.
I was watching vigilantly the neighbors, and I was keeping track of what was going on. And right when I saw their kid moving to college, I knock on the door, and I go, hey, I'm your next door neighbor. Are you thinking of selling? And they say, as a matter of fact, we were putting the house up next week.
Wow.
So I logged out.
Wow.
Buys both houses next. That's fantastic.
That's
man.
awesome.
Guillermo del Toro, again, thanks so much for coming
My
in.
pleasure.
Very,
Thank you,
very
guys.
fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think we're done for today, too.
Yes,
so.
sir.
Oliver Stone tomorrow.
Yes.
The Opie and Anthony Show on Sirius XM. All right, well, that sucked. To hear the Opie and Anthony Show 5 days a week live on satellite radio, online on your phone or tablet, or even on demand, go to SiriusXM.com. Also, interact with the Opie and Anthony Show on Twitter, @Opie Radio, @Anthony Cumia, and @Jim Norton.